Imagine adding 5 extra years to your life. Not just the years, but years of energy, clarity, and independence. Sounds incredible, right? Well, new research is showing that what we eat, how we move, and even who we spend time with can literally change how we age. And here's the best part, it's never too late to start. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 longevity habits that women over 50 can start right now. These are backed by science, and I'll sprinkle in a few stories of women that you may know who've done it successfully, so you know you can do it too. Habit number 1 is eat to live, don't live to eat. I actually have a client of mine who is in her mid 60s, and her mother has dementia, and so does her maternal aunt. And so this is something she feared. But instead of throwing her hands up to her jeans, she took action with her fork. And what she did was she changed her diet. She ate more of a Mediterranean style approach to eating. That includes more leafy greens, beans, less red meat. Not only did she lose 15 pounds and became more active and energetic, but her memory scores on cognitive testing also improved. And the science tells us that she's onto something. There was an article published in the British Medical Journal, and it showed us that when you swap out red meat, that we could prevent up to 750,000 premature deaths. And in the Journal of Nutrients Review, it showed that Mediterranean approach to eating and things like intermittent fasting and keto, when done properly, that they can improve cellular repair and metabolism. So what's your practical tip here? You can start with one change. Maybe you're going to replace one red meat per week with beans or a fatty fish. You can even start a small vegetable garden like I have, and that will give you a ready supply of greens that you can add to your meals. Habit number 2 is to move daily, even if it's just a walk. So one of my favorite longevity inspiration is 86-year-old Jessica Slaughter. She was featured on the news several years ago, and she shared her story of losing more than 120 pounds by simply changing how she ate and starting a walking program in her tiny 1-bedroom apartment. Her message was, you don't have to go fast. You just have to start. Jessica became vegan. She did 3,000 steps a day. She went from a size 22 to a size 4. She felt healthier, more active, more mobile, more independent. This contributes to your longevity, your health span, and again, your independence. And the science actually shows us that people over 40 who walked regularly can gain about 5 extra years of life. In fact, exercise has been shown to reduce DNA damage. Another article in Nature Aging shared that physical activity reduces harmful fat buildup in the muscles, and this can thus slow down aging marker. So a practical tip here for you is to first consult your doctor before starting any exercise program. This is particularly important if you've been sedentary. Exercise is good for you, but we want to make sure there are no underlying issues. And then start low, go slow. Aim eventually for 7,000 to 8,000 steps daily. This seems to be the sweet spot for women over 50, but you don't have to do it all at once. You can do 10 minutes at a time. Go for a 10-minute walk after lunch or after dinner. Habit number 3, strength is sexy. Repeat it after me. Strength is sexy. This habit leads me to someone who has been such an inspiration for me. Her name is Ernestine Shepherd. Today, Ernestine is in her 80s, and years ago, she earned the Guinness World Record as the oldest competitive female bodybuilder. I think she earned that at around age 74. But Ernestine was not always a bodybuilder. In fact, she didn't start exercising until she was 56 years old. She mentioned that at that time she saw herself as sedentary, as out of shape. She really felt that this was a part of aging. But then she decided she wanted a different life, and she started working out first with her sister. And the story goes, her sister passed away, but she continued. She did fitness classes, she did walking, and then she got into strength training. She's currently in her 80s, and she still wakes up in the wee hours of the morning to meditate and to run for many miles and to strength train. She is active, she's vibrant, she's healthy, she's strong, and she's sexy. And Ernestine often says that exercise is one of the fountains of youth, and I totally agree with that. And she also shows that it's never too late to start, right? By building strength, it improves balance, it protects your bones, it boosts independence, and in addition, it fuels self-confidence. And again, the science really supports this. A JAMA 2018 article shows that muscle mass is strongly linked to reduced mortality risk. And resistance training also improves bone density, reduce dementia risk, and helps with better glucose control. So what's a practical tip here for you? 2 to 3 days a week, you can start body weight exercises. This might include squats, push-ups, and resistance bands. And then you can increase that as you go along. This is going to help to improve your independence into your 80s and beyond. Habit number 4 is to nurture your social circle. I've talked about this before. Social connection is very important when it comes to predicting health and longevity. In fact, there is a rise in co-living arrangement because people are now aware of the importance of having that social connection. So we want to get away from loneliness because it's been linked to a 25% increase in risk in things like stroke. The goal is to reduce that social isolation. And again, this is especially with women. So here's your practical tip. Schedule one social anchor activity weekly. By anchor activity, it could be a dinner with family, a book club, a Zoom call with friends, something that you're doing consistently every week. And on a daily basis, you can have daily family check-in. This also counts. Habit number 5 is to prioritize recovery with good sleep and stress management. I've shared with you before that in the past, I had a job that I was working about 16 hours a day with very little support, nonstop, very busy. In fact, I would be called in the middle of the night to handle emergencies. And I remember I was always stressed. I got very little sleep. I felt so fatigued. I wasn't paying attention to working out, to my overall health and wellness. And I certainly wasn't interacting with others because I didn't have the time. Once I decided to put my health first, I stepped away from that environment and I addressed different aspects of my health, including my sleep. I started to consistently walk. I added strength training. I found ways to manage my stress level. I really prioritized getting healthy and well, and I felt so much younger and so much more energetic. So we know that chronic stress can raise cortisol level. And this has been linked to shrinking of the hippocampus. And the hippocampus is a part of our brain that's important with memory. So practical tips here is to be intentional about putting you and your health first. And I understand that not everybody can step away from a situation, but you can alter what goes on in that situation. Maybe you can make sure that you're eating a healthy meal before you go to a job, even if the job is stressful. You find 10 minutes of mindfulness to reset yourself during the day. After lunch, you might go for a walk. And then maybe after dinner, you do another walk. And you also ensure that you prioritize your sleep and looking for at least 7 to 9 hours and really looking at the sleep hygiene strategies. By the way, I have a link below for a free download of my sleep reset ebook. that you can click that link and get it for free. I use a lot of those strategies to help me get my sleep back on track. So remember that longevity is not living forever. It's living longer, better. And by what you put on your fork, what you do with your feet, what you do with your social circle, these can affect how you live, how long you live. More importantly, though, how well you live. If you like anything in this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to share with another woman who could benefit.